Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. First thing first, I'd like to say thank you for the time and the opportunity given to me. My name is Apriliana Yanti. I am majoring in English Education, State University of Surabaya. In this occasion, I'd like to present my paper entitled Simbol Imtak, Sistem Pembelajaran Berbasis 1 Minute Talk, Guna Mereduksi Speaking Anxiety dalam rangka peningkatan kompetensi peserta didik. And this study is mainly written to help the student reduce their speaking anxiety in order to increase their competence. And this explanation will be divided into several parts: the background of the study, the solution, the rules, and the aims. Okay, let's begin this explanation with the very first part, the background of the study. Well, basically, the idea of Simbol Imtak is based on three factors. The first one is education and English language, which is becoming too important point in order to reach the Sustainable Development Goals 2030. Point number 4, the quality of education. The second one, the lack of English proficiency, which lead to English language speaking anxiety. And the third one is the unsuitable teaching and learning method used by the teacher. The first factors. Education is becoming one of the important things in this era. As we know that education not only about intellectual practices, but also the moral value, social awareness, cultural understanding, environmental, and others. When it comes to the Revolution Industry 4.0, when we talk about education, it always correlated with the growth of technology and languages. Talking about language, the international language, in this case English, carries a big role in order to create a good relationship between one to another, especially for those who are coming from abroad. In 2018, the data collected by EF English Proficiency Index has shown that Indonesia only earned 51.58%, which considered as low English proficiency. A year after, it's getting worse. The point is decreased. Indonesia only make it into 50.03%, which make Indonesia in 13 positions out of 25 nations in Asia and 61 positions out of 100 nations being measured by EF English Proficiency Index. The lack of English proficiency will affect many things. In educational field, especially for the student, it will make them less confident, less competent, and it will affect their behavior also. The student who are having lack competence will not be able to express or even share their ideas to one another. It's because they are afraid of making mistakes or even afraid of the other responses. And this condition, called as speaking anxiety, or known as glossophobia. And the last factors of this study is the unsuitable teaching and learning method used by the teacher. One of the reasons why the material usually didn't even across the student's mind is because the teacher didn't provide the student with the suitable teaching learning method. They didn't even realize that it will affect many things. The student will be bored and unmotivated, and it will lead to the difficulties of understanding the lessons. So, in order to answer those three backgrounds of the study, here I suggest a method that can help the students to reduce or to minimize their speaking anxiety and increase their competence. This method in bahasa called as Simbol Imtak, Sistem Pembelajaran Berbasis 1 Minute Talk. When we want to apply this method, we need to pay attention on several rules, but actually this method can be implemented both in school activities or even self-implementation. When it comes to school activities, well, basically the step is similar to the step of teaching and learning in general. The first, we need to pay attention on pre-teaching activities. In pre-teaching activities, the students creates, motivates, perceptions, or even introduce the teaching and learning materials. Second rule is applying this method. This method can be implemented not only for pre-teaching activities, but also while teaching or even post-teaching activities. The differences is just a term. For pre-teaching activities, this method used as a brainstorming. For while teaching, it used as the way to help the student retain the information. While post-teaching, it can be implemented as a reflection. And the third rule is speaks for a minute. The next is students need to speak for a minute. Well, actually, speak for a minute or even 30 seconds is a difficult thing to do for those who are suffering in speaking anxiety. But 1 minute or even 30 seconds speak in front of others regularly will help the student to reduce their speaking anxiety. So this is the role of the teacher to motivate the students that they are able to express or share their ideas, and it is possible to make the mistakes. Rules number 4, it should be related to the material given by the teacher. In school activities, when we apply this method, it should be related to the material or the thing being discussed in this class. For example, like today we are going to discuss about, let's say, recount text. So the student needs to be able to express or share ideas about, for example, their experience, their past experience in 1 minute. So it's correlated each other. And the last rule is the students need to be able to speak confidently in front of others. And the last part in this presentation, it's going to be the aim of this method. Well, the aim of implementing this method, there are 4. The first, it will help the student to raise their competence, especially in English. The second one, to help minimize their speaking anxiety. Third, to encourage the student to be confident and to raise their communicative skill. And the last one, to prepare the student to face the real environment. And the aim of this method is becoming the last part of this presentation, and I'd like to continue with my experience in joining some organizations and competition. Well, honestly, I do really love social activities, and since I was a little kid, I had already involved myself in several kinds of social activities, both in school or even in environmental. My very first organization during the college is English Department Student Association, and there I became secretary for about 2 years. During my reign in English Department Student Association, I always involved myself to become a committee in some event, both inside or even outside State University of Surabaya. And in early 2019, I became the head of English Week East Java Open 24, and it teach me a leadership, time management, social relationship, and many other things. This year, I continue my passion in joining organization by becoming the head of Foreign Affairs of BEM FBS UNESA 2020. Moving on to the competition. Well, basically, I am a beauty pageant enthusiast, so almost all my achievement is about pageant. My very first pageant stage is Duta Public Speaking UNESA 2019, and there we are expected to be young, inspiring person which are able to spread the positivity and share our ideas and thought to others. And we are expected to be a good public speaker. And recently, last month, I joined pemilihan Putra Putri Pendidikan Jawa Timur 2020. It because I do really love with educational field. I am an education student and I want to become an educational pioneer. So yeah, I joined this event. And I could make it into top 7 of 40 finalists out of more than 400 participants around East Java. And in the end, I had a title as Putri Pendidikan Intelijensia Jawa Timur 2020. So, I believe that every single person has their own way to reach their dreams. And this is the way I am. Thank you very much for your attention. Finally, wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.